What's going on, people? Welcome to Football Carnage, and we are live. And we got something different for you guys today, and it's a different kind of week. So for the first time, I'm bringing on one of my first guests in terms of a 1v1 collab. Look, it's a big few days leading up into this El Clasico Copa del Rey Final that we got going on. So I had to bring on my guy, Barca Boy, right? Big up to the chat every single time. Big up to everybody that's watching. Make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe, and get in the chat to let us know what you're saying. And also, right, check out his channel as well. His link is pinned, and it's also in the title as well. So just click it, hyperlink, takes you right over. But yo, what's going on, bro? How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm not gonna lie. This morning when I woke up, the nerves are starting to kick in. We're about 4 to 8 hours away from the final. Yeah, the jitters are truly in, and I am very, very nervous, of course.
Bro, do you ever get nervous like it's gonna be you that's getting subbed on in like the 90th minute or something?
I mean, I'm always nervous for a big game. Usually when we have a Copa del Rey final where we're like the clear favorite, I'm content. You look at the past few years when we have in the Copa del Rey final against Sevilla, Alaves, Athletic Club. I'm all right. I'm calm, but Clasico final is always different. Even the Super Cup ones as well. It's always a nervous one, and when it's a Clasico, it's always a 50-50. It's a big moment, and also where the Copa del Rey is currently at in the calendar. Usually it's at the end of the season. Now all of a sudden they push it back a month to, give it a bit more relevance. So I'm feeling the relevance.
Nah, 100%. I mean, and if you think about it, right, we're still going to have to play you guys again after this as well, because we got to go to your ground to hopefully collect some 3 points. You know what I'm saying? Because who knows what the title race could be like. But now, like, what's going on in Spain right now? It's just actually crazy, bro. Like, at first it was the little 3-headed race. But I don't know about you. I never believed in Atleti. Like, any team that has Antoine Griezmann in it, like, even when they were top of the league, I told people in the chat, I'm like, bro, Atleti are like a fat elephant at the top of a skinny tree. We don't know how you got there, but we knew it's coming down. And, like, look at them. They've capitulated. So it's more of a two-headed race at the moment. I know that you guys are 100% the favorites. But, I mean, before we even look at Copa del Rey, what do you think about the league? Like, I think it's 10% of a possibility that you guys might bottle it.
First of all, you said about Atletico, I do agree that I'm not surprised. You call them the elephant on a tree. I call them the Spanish Arsenal, where they just tend to bottle it every single time. But I will say this: I still think that this Athletic team that we've seen this season is probably like top 2 Athletic teams I've seen in my years of supporting Barcelona. I think they're a really well conjoined team. They're a good system. I just think in the end we were better than them. And to be honest, they kind of bottled it themselves, losing to Leganes right after January, giving you space to come in and take over. And yeah, we had a 10-point lead. You had a 10-point lead. Now the point is, 4 in our favor. So it has been back and forth tight. I honestly see it as whoever has the Clasico in their favor will win it. So if you win the Clasico, of course, you'll be 1 point. I think we have some tough games near the end. I'm just very happy that we kind of, won our easy games now this past month or so. But I think the Clasico is a draw. We'll win it. I think if you win it, you definitely have a good chance to get back into it. I think if we win it, point goes to, 7. I think we'll be well in the clear by then. The problem with me is that our last game of the season is Athletic Club away at the CDR, which I think is the most difficult away game for Barcelona in the season. I think it's harder than the Bernabeu for sure. So that's the one that I'm really worried about the most. If we have to go into that game needing to win the league, I think we are 100% cooked. So as long as we win the league before the last game of the season, I think we'll be fine. But I think,
so you think so going into that last match, right, against Bilbao, you think that if you guys need to win that game to win the league, then you think that you'll lose it?
100%. I think it may be Bilbao being in the Europa League final or not will have an indication as well. Maybe they want to rest some of their players ahead of that game. Of course, they have a 2-legged tie now against Manchester United. But I think they're going to, of course, there's still a race for European spots as well. In La Liga, you have Villarreal, Betis, Celta, Mallorca, and Bilbao fighting for those positions. Of course, if Bilbao get knocked out by United, they need a spot in Europe next season. So Simon Mess is my most feared ground. Ever since I've been a Barca fan, every trip there has been horrid. Absolutely. I mean, I can count maybe a couple wins on my fingers. I can count way more defeats than I can count wins. And it's a stadium that absolutely horrifies the hell out of me. So yes, if we go into that game needing to win the league and Bilbao do play a strong team, unlike you when they rotated their whole entire 11. When they come against us, they turn into
I mean, did they rotate their entire 11?
You had none of the Williams brothers facing you. You had Gurazeta up front. The whole back line.
All right, go ahead.
The whole back line was rotated. This is the thing, right? The middle kind of teams, you always tend to do well with them. Why? Because your players just outclass them. It's the lower teams that you guys lose points to. Your Leganes, Valladolid, Girona, stuff in the lower half. Those middle teams are always harder for us because they actually go toe-to-toe. Since we don't play, a compact footballing style, they can always get.
I don't agree with that, bro. I don't agree with that because, like, when I'm watching this season, it seems like teams are just bending over for you. Like, they're just letting you just run through them. Like, they're just taking it. When we go against these teams, it's like the Avengers are in that back line, right? It's like their goalkeepers. Okay, now to be fair though, right? Mallorca's goalkeeper had an amazing performance against you guys today. But I feel like I see that from these mid goalkeepers at least 3 times a month when it's time to go against us. Everybody's making big saves. The defense is making tackles and blocks that they've never made before until it's time to play Real Madrid. Come on now, bro.
No, I feel the same way too. And I think last season was a perfect example of that. These teams were beating us and you were beating them 2-1 away from home. So I'm thinking, oh my God, they turn up against us and they don't beat you guys. It's always a catch-and-2 situation. I think whoever team is the more dominant one, which of course is us this season, we of course kind of get over the line. But even if you compare it, to our losses during November and December, losing to Leganes and Las Palmas at home, if we won both those games, we would have won the league by now. I think we would only have to win against Valladolid this weekend coming up afterwards, after the Copa between the two UCL games, and we'd win the league pretty much. So that kind of month made this a bit of a horror situation. But even when you look at your last 3 games, winning them all 1-0, I didn't expect anything from Alaves. I thought Bilbao had something for me, but you could sense it's going to be a 1-0 win for Madrid. And, Getafe. So Getafe is a perfect example of my argument. You guys play well against Getafe because Getafe just sit back, and all you have to do is just compile them with counterattacks and full-flowing football. With our structure, we're so compact. We take our time. We try to find the best moment, best movement, and they just solidify themselves so well. And also, they like to play rough as well. So our players, they get stuck in their heads and all this stuff. Well, you guys are a bit more mature since like we talked about in my video, that you have the more mature team, the better team on paper. So you guys understand the situation a bit more. But if you look at our 1-1 draw with Getafe back in January, we took the lead, conceded a crap goal. Of course, at that time, Iñaki Peña was in net. And then after that, we just couldn't break them down. Whereas you guys get the 1-0 lead and, show us your defense. Again, Courtois came in clutch for you guys at the end as well. But I think it's always whichever team is on top will have the better advantage. And then whoever's, trailing will always have a harder time against those kind of opponents.
Yeah, but okay. So, for example, with the game against Getafe that we had, I don't think that we really played that well. I think the first half, we looked really good. But then the second half, we were so trash. Getafe actually had a higher XG. Getafe actually had, I'd say, bigger chances than we did. We're very lucky to leave that game with a win. I mean, and to me, at this point of the season, like, we've been so bad in terms of our performances that I don't even really care anymore. Like, just get me the 3 points. I know that obviously it's Barca's title to lose, but we have to be there in case you guys do stumble and drop points here and there. Then we have, because could you imagine if we're dropping points, and let's say Barca, let's say you guys lose your next 3 games, but we're not there to capitalize. So we have to damn near be perfect in terms of with the results. But I mean, look, it's definitely interesting though. And I do think that there is a possibility of us coming back depending on what happens in that inter matchup that you guys have to focus on. Right?
That's why the Celta Vigo game for me was a huge win. Even at that point, you think, oh, you make a comeback, the Ilian Madrid score a last minute winner, you don't get the points out of it, right? So if we lost that game or drop points, that Valverde winner would have been a huge dagger. But for me, that was big because I know for a fact there's a very high chance that for Valladolid, I think Flick might just go guns blazing and just rotate the whole entire team. Of course, we saw a big rotation from both of us this midweek against Mallorca and Getafe, respectively. So maybe that was the time to rotate. In the end, we both got the win. But I think that Valladolid game, of course, they're last place. They're the worst team in the league by far. They're going to get relegated. We beat them, of course, 7-0 in the first game in September. So I think even our second string team should definitely get a win against them. But you never know. They're fighting for their lives away from home. Our minds are already going to be on Inter for sure, so that could be something about. I don't know, who do you have that weekend off the top of your head? Do you know next weekend?
What, this weekend?
Next weekend, yeah, in La Liga.
Next weekend. I didn't even look that far ahead, bro. I'm really just taking it one game at a time.
So you have Celta Vigo at home, which should be fine. Again, Celta Vigo,
yeah.
again, they turn up against us, they won't turn up against you. That's kind of another mold of it as well. So it's gonna be again, it's gonna all come down to the Clasico. So if you get that win against Valladolid, it's huge. You have still a 4-point advantage, which means you can still lose the Clasico and still have a lead, but you have to end up winning that Clasico. Even a draw in that Clasico, I think, would be a massive advantage for us as well. We can still win the game on the second last game, win the league on the second last game. Don't have to win at MLS. So the Clasico is going to be the deciding factor in regards if we drop points going forward in the next match day before the Clasico.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Really quickly, bro. Shout out to my guy Aspect for becoming a member of the channel. Welcome, brother. That badge is gonna look so fire next to your name. Also, shout out to Falcon on Fire that says today finally Madrid played as a team, not on individuals based on brilliance, but it's hard for Madrid to win Copa del Rey Final. Congo Barca for winning. I think I'm misreading this a little bit, but no, I appreciate that. And he also says, both for spitting facts. Yo, I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you for becoming a new member. Big up to everybody as well, right? Smash that like button, subscribe, and also make sure to check out Barca Boy if you haven't already. But I'm sure that most of you guys have to be familiar with Barca Boy. I mean, he's been doing YouTube for a while, got a nice following, doing watch-alongs and whatnot. So, yo, look, bro, you know what I realized? When I do like my hate watches, I swear you'll be in like the comments after the match, and you'll be like,
"Of course, man! I gotta."
My goodness! You know the thing is, bro, the hate watch, it had its aura. I'm not gonna lie. Like earlier this season, but I try to tell people, if you're watching Barcelona, right, there's no way that you can honestly think that somebody that's hate watching is gonna see you guys lose more games than wins. Like this is not a possibility, bro. Like if you're like when you watch Barca week in, week out, you're gonna see more wins than losses, like, or draws. Like that's just how it works.
For sure. But like if I was doing Madrid hate longs this season, I would have an absolute field day. I would have saw you guys lose to Liverpool, Malek, a couple games in La Liga, of course, us in the 2 Clásicos so far, dropping random points, especially in that January period where you guys dropped almost 14 points. I would have had a field day. You had your nice little spell in December. That was pretty much it. And it's not just you. I go to everyone. I go to everyone and just drop the unsuccessful hate watch along comment. Yeah. But you gotta rub it in when you know.
I mean, but you know the thing is though, bro. Like not everybody can get such an easy run in the UCL. You know what I'm saying? Like some of us have to play some big boy teams. You know,
for sure,
like
you have the experience of those weaker ones too. You know, a lot of your trophies come with that too. But yeah, I mean, we never get an easy run, so I'll absolutely take it. If you look at our Champions League runs, when we've won it, it's always been absolutely horror. So I'll absolutely take an easy run this time.
Okay, I mean, let's just get into the Copa del Rey final. I mean, look, how are you feeling about that, bro? Like, are you confident? Do you think that you guys should be considered the clear favorites, or do you think people are disrespecting Real Madrid just based off of what's been going on this season?
I'm shitting myself, to say the least. I think we are the favorites, not the clear favorites, just based on how we played, based on the first 2 Clásicos. But I am very nervous. In a Clasico, you never know what's going to happen. I've seen weak Barca teams beat the best Madrid teams. I've seen the worst Madrid teams beat the best Barca teams. It's always going to be a 50-50. Madrid have a chip on their shoulder. Barcelona going for a quadruple. I do think that I'm heavily relying on, of course, the tactics and setup from Ancelotti not being the best. Of course, we have a few injuries on your end and on our end as well. So it's going to be an interesting final. I don't think it'll be as dominant as we saw the first 2 Clásicos from Barcelona. I think it'll be a more cagey, more tight affair. Both teams very tired and leggy, playing so many games recently as well. That will have a huge factor. You playing on Wednesday, so us having that little extra 24 hours rest ahead of the final as well will be a key factor. But I think it'll really come down to the team that's most effective on the night in terms of their chances. We can have 20 chances to score 1. You could have 2 chances to score both of them, especially with the quad that you have up front. I think that's what's really going to come down to, really.
Yeah, I mean, as far as for me, I think we kind of feel the same way in terms of nervousness. I'm not going to lie, bro. I know that when it's an El Clasico, form kind of goes out the window, but I feel like it would be very naive for me to sit here and to speak with chest. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, brother, I think that we are going to win. But I can't say it that confidently, right? Like, this is just me strictly running off of pride, because the things that you guys have done to us in the 2 times that we've played you, I mean, shit, even if you want to go back to the preseason, you guys slapped us up in preseason. that carries over into the league, right? Then the last time that we met you guys was in the Spanish Super Cup final, and you guys violated us there too. So I'm very nervous, right? Especially with some of the injuries that we've got now, right? Like no Camavinga. I don't think Ferland Mendy is going to be able to start that game. Like just the midfield's going to have to be a little worked around. I'm not sure what Carl's going to do. I'm nervous. But at the same time, I'm feeling optimistic. I think a lot of people are writing us off, and I think that's a very dangerous thing to do. But, I mean, 100% though, Barca are the favorites. I mean, like, the way that you guys are playing football right now is crazy. I'm going to be honest. Like, your style of play is fantastic. I think that you guys are very aggressive. You guys are like a shark in, like, the water in terms of, like, you keep going at teams, especially when they're giving you, like, these opportunities. Whereas when I watch us, it's like I don't really know what to expect. It's just who's going to be on it today because there's no real system. So it's either like Vinicius or Mbappe or Rodrigo or Jude. None of them are ever clicking at the exact same time. So, you know, in terms of how I think the game's going to go, I think that you guys will outplay us. I think that you'll have more of the ball. I think Barcelona will look better. I think we're going to sit back, soak up pressure, and I think that we win the game just based off the counter-attacking opportunities. I just really like the matchup that we have with your high line. And, I mean, with everything that's riding on this game, I fully expect us to have the best performance of the season because this is the only chance for us to win a trophy. This could stop Barca from winning a possible the treble. Like, it's just so much riding on this game. It's also Carlo's last chance maybe at winning silverware as well with the club. I just feel like there's so many storylines like heading into this game.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with you with the fact that I think the only way Madrid can win this game is hitting on the break and just being super clinical. I think we will definitely have more possession and outplay you and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, the previous Clásicos will give strong indications. You look at the, other times where we had big Clásicos and so many Clásicos in the season. If one team is dominant, they do tend to win most of them. But I do see Madrid Madrid have to get a result in this Clasico or the League One, like a draw or beating us. When will it come? How will it come? It remains to be seen. Of course, when you fight for a trophy, it's a different perspective. But then again, the League Clasico is basically fighting for a trophy as well. Thank God there is not a Champions League Clasico final because I would have shot myself in the mouth before the final even took place. But it's an interesting dynamic. Of course, Barcelona going for the first quadruple in the history of the sport. Madrid trying to, of course, stop that. There's always that narrative as well that, you have to stop us from winning another treble. You're the only ones who can stop us. It's kind of the perspective from Madrid fans because they can't really rely fully on Inter than whoever we get in the Champions League final. So it's in your hands, which of course makes it quadruple even sweeter if we do end up winning it.
Bro, do you know what the repercussions would be if we get embarrassed in the Spanish Super Cup final, we get embarrassed in the Copa del Rey final, and then if Barcelona go ahead and win La Liga, and then if you guys also win the UCL, brother, I don't even know what would. I think the Bernabeu would explode, brother. Like I don't even know what would happen. The only positive that I can maybe take away from us losing this game is that I fully believe that the club would be forced to do a madness in the summer window. And like I kind of already alluded that to you.
I don't know, man. I'm seeing reports today. I saw reports after we made our video this morning that Madrid are reluctant to spend money this summer. I'm telling you, Madrid are broke. I'm telling you.
Whoa, hold on, wait.
Listen.
We're not you guys. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to pay players Spotify premium.
Hey man, buy a player that come chat to me. You haven't bought a player in how long? You bought Jude Bellingham the past 3 transfer windows for 100 million. That's all you've signed with, of course, fees. The rest have been free agents. So the reports are there. You're allowed to spend 50 million on Hoyson. You want to get this player, so on and so forth. Haaland, but he's too expensive. That's always the narrative. I mean, I'm not making it up. It's the evidence is there from the report. So I don't think the Madrid would be feeding the media this kind of information if it wasn't true. I'm not saying you're broke. Of course, when we were broke as well, so to speak, that we weren't spending money. We weren't, broke, but we had money, but the money had to be used elsewhere. Or, of course, FFP was our main issue because, the league does, of course, in fact, factually hate us. So that's also a predicament as well. Now they're going to, of course,
the league
summer
actually hates you?
Of course. I mean, the president says he's a Madrid fan every single fucking week. What does that tell you?
Brother, okay, but what? Like, you don't think that people,
when the president,
other leagues don't have a favorite team?
Yeah, no problem. But saying it every single week, every single day, especially when you talk about Barcelona. Look what he said yesterday. Oh, thoughts on Copa del Rey Final. Well, I'm a Madrid fan, so I want Madrid to win. Oh, thoughts on Barcelona. Well, I'm a Madrid fan. Oh, thoughts on Valladolid. Well, I'm a Madrid fan. You don't gotta say it every single time.
Bro, what's the problem?
You are the president of La Liga. You're supposed to show neutrality. And I guarantee you, the president or the federation of the Premier League, Serie A, don't go twerking for their clubs left, right, and center.
But would you say that he twerks for us? Because look at some of the decisions. Like, look at how he talks about us. Like, when we were complaining about the refs, he called Madrid crybabies. And he said that Florentino Perez is, like, delusional and these different things. So, like, let's not act like he's just sitting there yes, Perez, no Perez, like, whatever you want.
So when he takes the most successful and biggest club in Spain to court 5,000 fucking times and appeals every decision where we absolutely clap him. You tell me there's no bias there? We beat him in court on rules that he implemented, that he changed, that we found a loophole in, and is out here twerking for 5,000 courts to try and prove a point. At the end of the day, you're seeing now this summer that FFP restrictions are gonna be eased. All other La Liga clubs are getting broke. We haven't spent the La Liga as a league have not spent that much money the past few transfer windows. You look at last summer the La Liga spent 300 million. 60 of that came from Olmo to Barcelona. You look at the previous summer, I think that we only spent 200, and half of that came from the Jude Bellingham signing as well. So this summer, he's going to ease restrictions for FFP. Oh, what a surprise! After Barcelona struggled for the past 4 years and going through court cases, and our own president putting up money out of his pocket to register players and stuff like that. It is an agenda. There's a reason why Madrid are always so dominant, and there's also a reason why when we win La Liga, it feels that extra sweeter. Because not only do you beat Madrid on the pitch, but you also beat the institution around it as well.
See, I don't kind of like what you're hinting at, brother. I feel like you're hinting at
what am I hitting at?
Kind of like collusion that's going on.
There's no collusion.
My friend,
there's no collusion. There's favoritism. If you work for Spain, let's say you work as a content creator for the RFEF, which is the Spanish Federation. You're gonna do some graphics, you're gonna do some content. You're going to favor Madrid, maybe make a little bit better graphic for Madrid, put that extra effort in because you're a Madrid fan, which is completely valid. And that is what's happening in the Spanish institution. Hopefully, in 10, 20 years, when the new players and the new people come in, they'll be Barca fans, since we, of course, dominated that, 2006 to 2019 kind of era. Maybe they will get our favoritism.
I think there's favoritism for Barcelona as well.
There's absolutely fucking zero favoritism. Please tell me. Let's hear it.
Stop. Bro, tell me you know what? Let's even talk about what happened against Celta Vigo then, right? 7 minutes added on for what?
She didn't see Aspas fucking rolling on the ground, hopping the ground for 4 minutes.
Oh, well, why was he rolling on the ground after Rafinha assaulted him?
There's no assault. He wasted time.
He gets sent off. That's favoritism.
How's that sending off? He got his yellow card.
Hold on, wait. Why didn't Jude get a penalty for the same exact thing that Barca got a penalty for that Rafinha scored?
What about Rudiger?
Why didn't we get the penalty?
What about Rudiger pulling down the Athletic Club player in that game where he pulled down the attacker? That's a clear penalty. That's the same thing as well.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you're making it seem like there's no favoritism or no favorable calls that Barcelona get. Stop it. Like that's I acknowledge
everything
that.
We went the past 2 seasons only getting 2 penalties in La Liga. In Xavi's first full season, we got no penalties that whole entire Liga season. The season after that, we only got, I think, 2 or 3. This season, of course, we've gotten more because strict.
So then, like, what about what like 2 seasons where you guys almost went 2 years without a ref awarding a penalty against you? Which year was that?
We've never from 2022 to 2024. We had 2 penalties for us.
No, I'm talking about where no penalties
against us.
Yes.
We get them all the fucking time. Ter Stegen's not saved the penalty in fucking God knows how long, 7, 8 years. We get an average, I think, at least 5 to 9 penalties against us a season.
I'm not gonna lie, yo, but you guys are a corrupt club. Come on.
I mean, it's coming from Mr. Corrupt himself.
Hey, look, bro, it's nothing corrupt about us. I mean, who's the ones that call out the referees for their bad decisions?
I mean, it's us as well.
It's us. Who's the club that voted for us to get goal line technology? It's us. Who voted against it?
Who's the club that does fucking compilations for 3 hours on referees in every single fucking game?
All right, then. So then how are we corrupt if we're calling out inconsistent?
You're putting pressure. It's all tactical mindset.
It's not putting pressure. Okay, well, then maybe we should be just bribing them with 7 million euros worth of payments.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we should take a page out of your book.
Well, okay, that's a smart page, actually. Paying for the head of referee. So paying the head of referee $7 million over the course of 10 years to get analysis on referees, how they interpret games, how they give out decisions, instead of fucking bantering them and just laying them on Real Madrid TV for 3 hours. What's the difference between that? We're a more casual, smart way. You go on the more discussing route. That's kind of your club's model, and that's not surprising me as well.
Us calling out inconsistencies is disgusting, but Barcelona bribing is the smart route.
So you calling out inconsistency when there is an inconsistency in the video with the videos that they're showing is a problem. When they show VAR review in their image of TV for the tightest tackle I've ever seen in my life. Oh, clear penalty. Clearly, this guy is absolutely inept and absolutely a fool to be a referee. And again, you can go about this bribing stuff. Again, Nigeria case is not being in court for 4 years. I haven't heard jack shit. Nothing's being developed because Barcelona have it on lock. At the end of the day, Joan Laporta, when the report came out, show full proof. We did not pay referee for the decision. We paid the head of referee to get reports on the referee to determine how they decide in matches. This is a yellow card offense. Again, if you're lobbied with the referee beforehand, he might be a bit favorable in your game. That's not paying for the referee's decision. That's more paying for information about how the referee judges the game, which is smart. And also, 8 other clubs in La Liga did it as well. But since you have referee pay and Barcelona, everyone loses their taste. At the end of the day, I'm not saying there's huge favoritism. At the end of the day, everyone in the federation, referees, committees, institutions, they are all Real Madrid fans. That is all I'm saying. 99.9% of them are Madrid fans. They walk out of referee matches with Madrid bags. They're also referees and the committee all come out twerking that I'm a Real Madrid fan every single fucking week.
Well, the thing is, though, I don't disagree with you in terms of, I feel like maybe there are, let's say, people in important positions that, like, there's probably more Real Madrid.
That's not my point, though. Not just people. Everyone.
No, see, it's not okay. So don't act like there's not any Barca supporters.
Please, if you can pull me a Barca fan at any decent level or high level of role in the federation, I will concede.
Okay,
and one.
Okay,
that's all I need.
So I'll look it up and then I'll send it to you later. I'm like doing that right now. But what I'm saying is, this is just what comes along with being the biggest and best club in your country. You're gonna have a lot of people that support you. But I don't think that
also will lead to
that talk about like Madrid and these different things when their club also gets very favorable decisions as well. I just find it a bit hypocritical. So, for example, I've never argued that because like if I was to come out here and say we don't get favorable calls, that'd be idiotic. Of course, we've gotten favorable calls. But it's like Barca fans don't want to acknowledge that they get favorable. Oh, no, it's just Madrid. Mind you, we're the ones, again, that criticize the referees for inconsistencies, right? Lamine Yamal came out, I swear, and he was like, yeah, like, we don't criticize. I forget what it was. It's something like, we don't criticize the refs or whatnot. And then, like, 2 days later, I forget who you guys played, but he got fouled. His foot was bleeding. And then he's on Instagram complaining about the refs. So it's like, why are you shut up? Like, why are you trying to make it seem
Let me explain the situation. So, in the past 15, 20 years of Spanish football, Barcelona, the reason why they tend to not get referee decisions, because when the referee decisions happen on the pitch, what do? They run straight away, scream and yell at the referee, blah, blah, blah. You're a Madrid fan. This is a clear penalty, X, Y, and Z. This is why in that first season under Xavi, we did not get a single penalty call, because not only do the referees don't like it when you yell at them, they also don't like when you criticize them. And this is why Madrid got fucked and finessed in that week when you played Osasuna, Espanyol, another team where you had 3 decisions not go your way. The Mbappe red card, the Bellingham saying fuck off and getting sent off. Then there's another one as well. The reason why that did not go in your favor is because you were pissing off the referees. You had fucking banners and Real Madrid TV compilations saying, oh, these guys are all idiots, blah, blah. So they're going to be seeing that saying, okay, fuck you. This is a 50-50. I'm not going to favor you. The reason why this season is different is because when Flick came in, the first thing he said to the team was never, ever, ever complain on the pitch anymore. You want to complain after the game?
Well, I guess Rafinha's not listening.
Yeah, so Rafinha plays after the game. So you saw that, video of him going after the referee. The referee told him
that gimmick is going away, bro. Maybe he shouldn't win the Ballon d'Or. They said that Vinny didn't get it for those kind of actions.
Yeah. When Vinny does it every game compared to Rafinha doing once or twice, it's a bit different. But nonetheless, when Rafinha does it after the game, it does not, of course, impact the result. He may get a red card if the referee, if he said something wrong. He may get suspended, but it won't impact what happens in the 90 minutes. So that's what Flick has brought in. So that's why the players don't complain on the pitch. They'll complain afterwards where there's no repercussion on the actual match.
Okay.
Will Lamine Yamal get a 5-game ban for posting that image of him bleeding? Probably not. If maybe he said, "Oh, F you referee" on the caption and stuff like that, he probably would have. But at the end of the day, we would have won that Atletico Madrid game regardless. And that's all that really matters in the eyes of Flick. And that's why there's been less red cards this season, less controversy from the Barca perspective in terms of referee, because we're always calm now on the pitch. That is why.
Okay.
Back in the day when we had, Piqué, Messi, Busquets, blah, 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 you can see them all swarming the referee when things don't go our way, which is, about 90% of the time. And that's why referees did not like us. And every time they had a 50-50, especially when there's no VAR, they wouldn't favor us. Which, again, in a 50-50, you could say, oh, that's a penalty. You might say that's not a penalty. It's a judgment of the game, right? And that's why it goes back to what Barcelona paid Niguez $7 million for, was to understand how the referees adjust and interpret its situation.
All right, we'll see. I mean, look, again, I just don't like the narrative that, it's just only Madrid that get favorable calls. But look, you brought up
9 times out of 10,
right? I do want to talk about the managers, because for me, I think like leading into this matchup, that is the biggest difference between us. Right. And I mean, you agreed with me when we did a video for you that Real Madrid squad, I think, is more talented than Barcelona's. Right. And for me, I think Hansi Flick is the biggest difference. Right. I think this guy has come into Barcelona. He's instilled a system that has worked perfectly. Right. This guy made Rafinha go from a fake Brazilian. Right. Because he was underneath some investigations, okay? I swear, he was Bolivian for like 2 seasons. Now this guy is actually looking like one of the best players in the world. I told you, brother, Rafinha should be selling CDs in Sao Paulo, but now he's at Barcelona going crazy. And I think that's just strictly down to the manager, the way that you guys are absolutely just dominating teams and battering them. So I want to get your POV on Carlo Ancelotti, right? Because I'm Carlo out. I started off this season. I was very, I'd say, patient with Carlo, right? Like, there was a lot of people that wanted him out. I remember arguing with a lot of people, and I'm saying, brother, we just won the UCL. Look at all that he's done for us. And then something just snapped for me after we lost against AC Milan. And I was like, okay, like, it's just over. But, I mean, from like a Barca's fan POV, like, how do you view Carlo? And do you think it'd make sense to sack him after this season?
First, just in regards to your first 2 points, Flick is the difference maker this season. I do think if you go, bar for bar, band for band on each player in Barcelona's team compared to Madrid's team, I think you will come out on top just mainly due to the amount of players and squad that you do have. With Rafinha as well, the issue with Rafinha over the past 2 seasons that he just wasn't clinical. Now, all of a sudden, he's scoring goals. He's always played well. Of course, he got double digits in both goals and assists, 20 GA in his first 2 seasons, which is pretty decent. But he got a lot of hate for missing open nets and clear chances. With Ancelotti, I think honestly, going into this season, he was probably the perfect manager for you in the sense that he's very good at managing big players, which is why he's gotten the job at AC Milan and Chelsea and PSG and Bayern Munich, because he knows how to handle ego. Of course, tactically, I mean, he gets the most out of his players in terms of effectiveness, but really 9 times out of 10, he has no system, no style of play, just very much reliant on individual brilliance. That's why you did so well last season, because Bellingham had a great season. This is, of course, one of the top 5 players in the world. That's what really affected you. This season, I knew that Carlo was not going to do well because the guy cannot win a title again to save his life in terms of a title defense. He's never defended a title in his career. So that's why going into the season, I knew that it was going to be a bit rough with that kind of narrative, and especially also with the fact that Mbappe is going to come in and that was going to disrupt your whole entire system. Ancelotti has always said from when he first started coaching till now that his favorite system is 4-4-2. Even when he does like collaborations with other players, I remember him doing one with Rio Ferdinand. They were like, "Okay, let's do a formation. What's your favorite formation?" He's like, "Oh, I love the 4-4-2." So not being able to play 4-4-2 because Madrid went out and signed Mbappe to be the poster boy and the star boy, now it kind of disrupts a little bit the system. It's something that he's not used to. So I think he's overall has, of course, fantastic knowledge on the game. He's a good manager, and especially behind the scenes in terms of training and controlling players' attitude and mentality. But on the pitch, in game, if you go band for band in terms of tactics against each manager, he does end up falling short. But he's still probably top 10, greatest managers the sport has ever seen.
No, I mean, 100%. I think like Carlo, what he's done, it can't be questioned, right? Like, he's a legend at the club. And I think regardless of how this season plays out, even if we go trophyless in the second half of the season, I still think that he deserves a send-off, right? I think that he still does deserve something, right? It can't be like back in 2015 when he just got sacked and it was kind of like wasn't the best term. So, I agree with what you're saying, but I feel like he's just been so fraudulent this season, bro. Like, his lack of tactics, right? The lack of in-game adjustments, wasting another season of Arda Güler, not really utilizing Endrick, not being able to find a formation or a system to get the best out of these players, right? So I do think that Carlo is a massive problem for us this season, because I just think that we are one of the worst managed teams in the world in terms of big clubs. Like, I feel like if I was the manager for Real Madrid, and if you were my assistant manager, we would have a better game plan than whatever the hell Carlo is going to cook up for Saturday.
But all the things that you're pointing out are all, of course, valid, but they're all very obvious in the beginning of the season. With the amount of midfielders you had, everyone knew that Arda Güler was not going to get a chance. Even I was quite surprised that he didn't go out on loan with the amount of midfielders you had. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Modric, Ceballos, Bellingham now is going to drop in the midfield as well, with Mbappe coming in as well, Brahim Diaz. That is 6 midfielders already ahead of Arda Güler in terms of a pecking order for only 3 playing on the pitch. So that was very, very evident from the beginning. But of course, the most important thing for Carlo is what Madrid care about the most is winning trophies. Get the most out of the team, be competitive. Of course, it's not looking like that right now. Even a Copa del Rey being the one only trophy, if you do end up winning it, will probably be seen as an unsuccessful season. Of course, you do the league double and you win La Liga as well. Maybe he can salvage a bit of his reputation. Of course, defending a title for the first time ever as well in his career. But I think the main issue for him this season is that other teams now are more of realizing of how Madrid play, and also probably the team being tired as well. Can't forget there was an international tournament this summer. Madrid kind of played basically the same 13, 14 players on a consistent basis. I think next season, unless barring a miracle, I think you guys are cooked as well. Because you have the Club World Cup in July. You're going to have, 1 or 2 weeks of summer vacation. And as the media is currently saying, no, you're a bit more optimistic. Signings are little to none this summer, apart from maybe Trent on a free. So I think you guys are even more cooked next season. That's why if the new measure comes in, you should give him more time as well, looking like maybe Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso going to get a tired, big-headed Real Madrid team. That's, of course, coming off the back of a poor season overall, pending, of course, what they win in the end. And the expectation is going to be, of course, through the roof. Xabi Alonso, great style, former player, this and that. So I think next season should be, again, how things are going, even worse than this season, just mainly due to fatigue and also a new manager coming in and everyone having, another season under the belt, and also to the lack of signings as well.
I mean, look, fair enough. I actually do agree with a lot of what you're saying. I don't agree with the fact of us being cooked next season. I think
cooked, but like it's gonna be like
yeah, but like, so you're basically saying that it might not get that much better next season. Is what
yes, yeah.
See, I would find that so hard to believe. Like, because like for me, I've been watching, bro, 10 years, right? Now, when I first started watching football, I wasn't as locked in as I am now. But from my memory, this is top 3 worst seasons that I've seen, right? So I would say this, Zidane's last season, and then maybe the season after Ronaldo left. I think that's 18-19, when like we got knocked out by Ajax. Those 2, and then this one. It's the worst 3 seasons that if we do not look exceptionally better next season. I hear you with giving Xabi time, but bro, my patience is very thin. Now, yes, I do think that he should be given time, of course, but I feel like if we look worse, then like, what are you doing then? Because you're somebody that I thought had tactics, that was going to come here with some new ideas. So if we don't improve, then what the hell did we bring you in for? And again, I'm not saying that we got to go invincible, win our first like real treble. I'm not saying to go do the quad. I'm not saying to get 100 points. I'm asking for a good style of play. I'm asking for us to look competent. I'm asking for us to start dominating some of these teams. That's all I want, bro. And obviously trophies as well. But we cannot be cooked next year, bro. We can't.
You could get that, to be fair, but you look at it from the bigger perspective, right? There's going to be little to no signings. Barcelona going to have a whole month fresh off, a successful season again, pending what trophies we win. Even if we don't win any trophies, we still would feel very positive about the season. Having a whole month break as well. Your players are going to get rinsed. There's going to be a World Cup as well next summer as well, so players might drop off a bit earlier. The team isn't doing well, stuff like that. There's already a congested schedule as it is. You're going to have fucking 20,000 international breaks in that first few months of the season. is going to be a big toll on Madrid. That's why I feel like they should have went
why you
guns.
have to spend money, because what I wanted to kind of go towards to talk on really quickly is Florentino Perez, because even though I think he's the greatest president that's ever existed in sports, I do think that his decision making has been a bit questionable, right? Like how you're talking about, maybe Madrid are broke, right? Like maybe, or we're just very frugal. But I feel like he can back the manager a little bit more, because the manager's always going to be the one that gets his head cut off, right? It's very easy to replace a manager versus replacing a president, right? So Carlo was always going to be the sacrificial lamb. But that doesn't mean that people aren't noticing that the board kind of set him up, right? Toni Kroos retired. You don't replace him. Nacho goes to Saudi, right? We have no center backs. Yeah, we tried to get Lenny Yoro, but to your point, we made a low offer. United came in, basically doubled what we were going to propose. They got the player. We didn't sign anybody. So, I mean, things like that, right? Like Jose Lu leaving, and I feel like the squad building has been a bit poor, and I think that we are an imbalanced team. So Carlo was always going to have a hard job, but I mean, like, I just want to get like your quick thoughts on Perez, and I mean, like, do you think that he's still that same ruthless guy that we've known, like, since he's been at Real Madrid, where, because I've seen managers get sacked for less than what Carlo has done this season. So, I mean, like, what are your thoughts on Perez, bro?
I think that he's very consistent with what he does. I mean, you look at the Summers and look at the manager he does. Again, he's Madrid not a team that go out and splash a bunch of money each summer and stuff like that. They'll maybe bring a marquee signing or two if the team really needs improvement, like they did after Ronaldo left. He would go out and do it. Of course, he does more than just run the club. He runs, everything. He gets, of course, a big personality. He's very well respected in the world of sport, especially in Spain as well. So, sacking him, no matter what, is idiotic. I think once he wants to call it quits, he goes on his own terms. But Madrid have never been this kind of club. They always sign one big player this summer, whether they fit or not. It's just really down to the player and the quality. It could, for the Galacticos in 2006, where they just bought Ronaldo and Beckham and Figo and Carlos, all this stuff, and none of it really fit. You're playing Beckham out wide in the middle on the left. They just never really fitted. Even the ones in 2010, you're signing Kaká, Xabi Alonso, Benzema, Ronaldo. Of course, a lot of them did well, but some of those, of course, didn't do well. So it's always going to be a catch-and-2. There's always going to be situations like that. But like I mentioned, I do think low-key, not they're broke, but they don't have money to spend per se on transfers. Maybe because, again, I think the stadium, what I've been hearing is that the stadium actually costs way more than it initially thought. So that's why a lot of the funds are going there. And of course, you're going to pay the first team players who are on fuck ton of huge ass wages. I think Barcelona, I think right now, like 63% of the club's total income goes to the players. For you guys, it's probably more since, of course, your players earn more. You have, Mbappe on 700,000 euros a week. Vini's about to get a new deal as well. So maybe he's thinking sign Trent for free.
He's not on that much.
Who?
I said Mbappe is not on that much.
Well, to be fair, he does, of course, have a lot of his image rights as well, which maybe he'll be on. So maybe he'll be on a bit less, like maybe like 500. But like Vinicius now seeing Mbappe on 500, he's on 200, thinking, "Yo, I gotta be somewhere near him as well." So maybe he's thinking, Perez's perspective, keep a video on new deal, sign Trent for free. We go again. That's probably he thinks that's the best way going forward. I think a lot of Madrid fans would take that summer, even though it's you still have other holes like at left back, for example, and maybe another option up front as a natural striker compared to Endrick. But that's just how he operates, right? So it's of course it comes down to really your opinion on what the team needs. Maybe a new manager will just change everything, bring a stance like what we saw under Xavi. Maybe that could be the deciding factor. So we'll wait and see what he does. I'd be very surprised if Madrid do sign a player for a fee this summer. Like if they spend more than like 30 million, I'd be
Nah, that'd be crazy, bro. I'm telling you,
you might buy like Dean Huijsen for like 30, 40 million, something like that, and that's it. But if you spend more than that, I will be surprised.
You'll be surprised. Okay, now fair enough. Now kind of go back to Barca. Like, how are you feeling about the direction that your club's going? Right. I mean, we see how fantastic you guys have been this season. Hansi Flick looks like he's the man for the job. Looks like he should be at Barcelona for years to come if he keeps things going like this. I mean, like, what are you guys saying for like off the pitch stuff, like with summer transfer windows and all that? Because I think it's been very well documented at how Barcelona's finances haven't been the best. Whereas we're kind of speculating with Real Madrid. It's kind of like we know that Barca have some hardships. So it's like, what's your club saying for this summer with like reinforcements?
Nah, man, we're on the up now. We're looking good. We're healthy financially. New stadium's going to be cooking in some sexy revenue as well. Keep in mind, the reason why we don't have too much money to spend is because we're at another stadium where you can't really optimize the most amount of revenue from it because you're spending half the money renting the stadium as well. Then you're spending money on implementing, the changes that you want to put in, getting Barcelona, colors and stuff all around the stadium as well. But money's looking great. I think the squad is looking very, very good as well. We already made that huge investment in Xavi's first summer, but we got rid of 20 players and signed 10 players. So that huge investment already made. This summer, we're looking at maybe 2 signings at the absolute most, a winger and a fullback, maybe only even one. I think we probably have, I would say, depending on FFP restrictions, if the reports are true that Tebas is planning to ease the restrictions of FFP, I definitely think that we have maybe 80 to 100 million to spend. Of course, pending FFP, we'll wait and see. A lot of new contracts need to be done and registered as well, which of course will entitle less money to be spent on players. But we're looking really good. The squad is full of depth, full of young talent, definitely full of top quality players as well. I think their only weak point really is fullback depth. Apart from Balde and Koundé, the depth isn't too great. I do rate Hector for it. Huge challenge. Gerard Martin, bit of a stinker for me. So just maybe improving that. Of course, having a natural winger. The only natural winger we do have in the team is Lamine Yamal and Ansu Fati. Of course, Ansu Fati looking like he's going to be leaving, so definitely need someone coming in for sure. But I'll be surprised if we make more than 2 signs this summer, and as long as we make the 2 signs in key areas, I'm an absolutely happy camper.
Okay, I mean, look, fair enough. But, yo, big up to the chat, right? Shout out to everybody that's in here watching. Again, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Make sure that you're also clicking on the hyperlink for Barca Boy as well. Show him some love. But I do want to get into a little bit of a combined 11, right? I think that could be a bit fun, right? I feel like this is a debate that like a lot of people just like to have, and I'd want to do that with you. So I mean, look, let's do it. Let's do it, right? So combined 11, I'm thinking that the formation could be a 4-2-3-1. I feel like that's kind of like what we've both ran for a majority of the season, like more so you than me, whereas like we've experimented a little bit more. But like you don't have no problems with the 4-2-3-1, right?
No, we can run with that. No problems.
Okay. All right, cool. So, yeah, chat, let us know like, what you guys are saying for this. Make your arguments as well. I'll get your comments up because I already know that we're definitely not going to agree on everything because, I mean, how could we? But let's get it started, though. So, talk to me about goalkeeper.
I'll probably go to Courtois just based on consistency this season, and especially how well he's come up in big moments for Madrid. I do think that Shetty's been unbelievable for Barcelona. He's been an absolute fresh, a breath of fresh air with his performances. Of course, he's had some mistakes at the beginning, but he's had some huge performances as well. Dortmund away, Benfica away. He's come up absolutely huge. Of course, barring the red card against Mbappe in the Super Cup final, that is absolute howler against Benfica in the group stage game. I think he's been flawless. Of course, in Naki Peña's ass, Ter Stegen's ass. So if Szczesny was played the whole entire season, I'd definitely be pushing him for it. But since Courtois has been played the whole season, he's come up big a lot of times for Madrid. I mean, I watched the Arsenal first leg as well. Fucking hell, man, this guy's annoying as shit. So yeah. I'd definitely say that Courtois is the better of the goalkeepers.
Okay. Yeah, nah. Like I agree with you. I think that Courtois has been arguably our best player this season. He's been the one consistent. I'm be real. You know what's so crazy about like with how bad we've been this season, bro? We were trash in preseason. Like I literally remember the first preseason game that we had against AC Milan, and they absolutely battered us. And Courtois was the only player that game that was looking like he was on mid-season form. And I was thinking, look, it's preseason. What does it really matter? Like we're just trying to just, like get the footing, right? The players had Copa America. There was also the Euros. Brother, I was there doing so much coping with how trash we were. But I mean, like that was just a precursor for what was to come this season, because that, like, even in preseason, it's exactly the same for what we've been seeing. In general, I think that Szczesny, he has had big performances, like you've said. I know that there's now a conversation to be had on whether Ter Stegen even gets back to being your number one. So, like, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I think that Courtois, I think he's better than Szczesny, and I think the performances would also kind of indicate that, because he's the only reason that there's even a La Liga, somewhat of a title race going on, because without him, we'd have been cooked. But okay, let's go to right back. I'm not going to be shameless. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Fede Valverde. No, right? Valverde, he's a good makeshift right back, but that's not his natural position. There's no Danny Carvajal and Lucas Vasquez. Just no. So, I mean, it's got to be Koundé, right? I mean, we could agree with that.
Yeah. I think Koundé overall this season has been very, very good. I think he's had a bit of a poor 2 months recently. I think defensively, he's one of the best in the world without a shadow of a doubt. I think going forward, he has improved since, his first few games at right back. To be fair, I think he has 3 goals, 9 assists this season, which is very, very good numbers for a fullback. But he just not. You can just tell there's something different with him when it comes to a personal fullback. But definitely for a combined 11 with Real Madrid, he should be in there. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about right back. I mean, look, I could make the argument for Asensio, brother. I know that you're not the biggest fan of his. And I know that you guys got Kubarsi and, the La Masia hype, right? Let's be real. If Raul Asensio was from Barca's academy, this guy, the PR that he would get would be insane. But that's one thing that Barca are 100% better than Real Madrid, and that's PR. And you know that, bro. Come on. Like, the aura around your academy is ridiculous.
You talk about academy PR or just PR in general?
I think a little bit of both.
If a little bit of both, I don't know what you're smoking.
Just brother, look at how people talk about. You guys have
academy PR for sure, because we have the best academy in the world, so we produce down.
Our academy is better. La Fabrica is better.
Name me 5 La Fabrica graduates over the past 5 years have done something decent in football.
Across the last 5 years.
Yeah, just name me 5.
But why such a specific timeline? Because see, here's
the thing. It's a good time for you to see.
Okay, wait, hold on, wait. But hear me out though, right? I think what Barcelona's academy is great at is getting your players into your first team. At Real Madrid, that's not what we're trying to do, right? I feel like our academy, one, is the most successful in the world financially. That's a fact, right? We sell a lot of our players. They end up being in other teams and around La Liga, around Europe. So I feel like that's why people don't really rate Real Madrid's academy so high, is because the emphasis isn't to get them into our first team like how it is at Barcelona. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because our academy makes more money than yours.
So the point of an academy is to, of course, grow players, put them in your team that way.
But we do grow players. We make
Let me land.
Go ahead.
The whole point of an academy is for you to produce players to put into your first team, to mold them into the way you want them, to have the identity that you want them, style of play. Okay. That way you don't have to go spend 50, 60 million. I know we watch football, so 50, 60 million for us, not that much in terms of transfer fee, but that's a fucking ton of money, right? Yeah. You end up saving money that you can produce elsewhere, invest in the club, into the stadium. That's the whole point of an academy. You look at other teams as well. The point of an academy is not to sell. Of course, you guys end up selling because, you have a Madrid academy products. They will juice the value of it. That is the point of an academy. If your idea is to just produce players and sell them, that's not the philosophy in football. I think it works for you guys because the talent you create is not good enough for Madrid a lot of the time. 9 times out of 10, they sometimes go even elsewhere and do well. I think even half the time they don't do that well either. So again, if you can name me a couple of players over the past 5 years that have graduated, I have a whole list of 20 here with La Masia. If you can just name me a couple, and we can see where the debate is at. Because apart from Asensio, who came, of course, this season.
Okay. What about Pablo Barrios at Atleti? You also have
who the fuck is that? Pablo,
right? Nico Paz just doing crazy stuff in Serie A right now. I think Marcus Llorente. Come on now, bro.
So you named Nico Paz, who's a good option. Of course, Asensio's in your team now.
Okay.
Pablo Barrios.
Miguel Gutierrez at Girona.
Miguel Gutierrez, okay. So that's 3. I think Llorente, that was a long, long time ago, and then you end up selling
No, see, but you just want to focus on the last 5 years. What I'm saying is, right, I feel like the Barcelona definition of the academy is to get players. I don't think that Madrid view it that way. Because I feel like our club wants to spend money.
This is where my point comes in.
We want to bring in the superstars.
This is where my point comes in, because I think Madrid do see it that way. but they just rush to conclusion with strikers, with talents. They rush to decision making and stuff like that. End of the day, you just look at the past last 20 years of the FIFA World Pro 11 lineups. Okay. I don't see one Madrid graduate. I see a bunch of Barcelona La Masia.
All right. Wait. So let me ask you a question. Where are the kids that don't make it in your first team?
9 times out of 10 they go and make it somewhere else, whether it be in the Premier League, in La Liga as well. That's why they're kind of annoying when they face us. They have that extra, to prove a point, which is a bit annoying since we produce so much talent. It's always coming back to bite us. They're in other leagues as well, playing well, either being starting players or squad players in top 5 leagues. And that is the talent of La Masia. You look at the last 20 years of the players. I think the list of Barcelona players that graduated from La Masia that were not successful at Barcelona is better than the list of Madrid graduates from their academy, full stop. That is the level of La Masia.
So why okay, fine. So then look, last point on that, and then we can move on. Why is it that then our academy is more financially successful in terms of selling players? And go ahead.
Again, our job is to bring our team.
Not all of the kids make it into your first team. It's only like like 1 or 2 every year or something. It's not like big.
So 1 or 2 every year for us is better than your 1 every 7 years. So
but that's because we could spend the money. Like we don't have to rely on a 17-year-old to come carry us. Like we don't need to rely on that.
I mean, that's cool. When that 17-year-old is the best player in the world, I mean, I'm absolutely happy camper. So I mean,
look, fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is that
I mean, I'd rather have the best player in the world that I spend zero money on than spend 100 million sign-on bonus for Kylian Mbappe, who can have his stinker for first season.
Yeah, but the thing is though, but it's easy for you to say that because you can't sign Mbappe.
Yeah, true. I mean, we before COVID, we used to, of course, always sign the superstar talents. And look where that brought us: Griezmann, Coutinho, Dembele, all flops. Great players from their respective clubs, but they didn't fit what we wanted to do. In the end, when you produce talent on your own, they also have that motivation to be successful in your team. It's like if you go play for Madrid, you're going to die for the badge. Will Mbappe die for the badge? Probably not. Will I die for the Barcelona badge? You bet your ass I would. Would Kubarsi, Lamine, Balde, Casado, Bernal, Olmo? They probably would. Would Jude Bellingham die for a Madrid badge? Probably not. He says he will, but I think that's, of course, just PR. Will Carvajal die for the Madrid badge? I think he would. Would Asensio? Yes. Would Vasquez? Yes. But would I think maybe Vinicius? I think Vinicius would. Would Rodrigo? Probably not. With the 60 he's gotten over the past year, and Tchouaméni probably not. Camavinga probably not. Ceballos probably not. You want to sell him about 5,000 fucking times. So the point stands that at the end of the day, academy products are the reason why you have academies is that so you don't spend money on play. I think contrary to your point, I think.
But I think that the Madrid way is to spend money.
I think
at least recently.
I think contrary to your point, I think Madrid spent a lot of money on big players because their academy can't produce that much.
See, but I don't agree with that. I don't.
I mean, I'm seeing Alvaro Gonzalez, for example. I think Alvaro Gonzalez, the striker who's currently on loan for Getafe, he came into your team, I think, last season, got 2 goals in the cup and got like a league-winning goal, if I'm not mistaken. Last season or the season before that, I don't know when. I think at the time Jose Lu was injured, so he came in, showed some promise, got a couple goals. And I haven't heard from him since. I think he's sticking it up at the gaff at Getafe as well.
No. See, but that's the thing. It's because we're able to spend money. So I feel like the academy kids don't get as much attention. But I do think that we have good talent, right? And then also, it doesn't help that Carlo Ancelotti doesn't really like using younger players. Like he wants to go with what's.
And if you think about it,
I mean, look, like we can agree to disagree though.
But let me make one more point. I think a good point for you that you said was, you like to spend money on big players. You also like to spend money on young players. 70 million on Endrick, 50 on Vinicius, 50 on Rodrigo. I think that's again another point to your academy not making that much talent that you have to go actually buy and spend big money on young players as well that will hopefully grow.
Madrid, they look at the commercial side of it as well when making signings.
I mean, there's no commercial. There's no commercial benefits when you sign Vinicius from Flamengo for 50 million. It's a gamble.
No,
same with us.
Of course there is, because like if you look at, for example, like what's going on in like Brazil, ever since you guys took Neymar, right? Because we were in for Neymar, he rejected us.
Yeah,
you guys got him. Florentino Perez, like, because remember Brazil is the biggest market for football.
Yeah.
So now, like, why do you think that these young Brazilian players cost so much money without having to prove anything as much? Because it's an untapped market. It's a big market as well. So now you have Vinicius. He's worked out. He's now one of the best Brazilian players in the world, and he's a megastar. And I feel like that's what the club focus on more so is world-class players that also have that big market side to them. Like, it's much easier to bring in more money.
Madrid,
if you sell a Mbappe, well, if you bring in a Mbappe versus, let's say, just promoting Gonzalo Garcia and then just giving him those minutes.
Yeah, of course you're right, but they're not investing, market-wise with Vinicius. They grow Vinicius into what they want him to grow. That's why when he first came in, there was no PR around him. He plays well, can score goals. The number 28 looks absolutely ass as well.
Vinny was mid, like when he first
exactly. So he grows, and alongside that, Madrid grow his PR, grow his reputation, and use him for marketing and advertising.
Yeah, but that's at the time where everybody's looking for like the next Neymar. That's 100% market.
But look at us for Victor Roque, who of course ended up flopping at Barcelona. We went to tap the Brazilian market because you guys dominated over the past few years. We bought someone who had talent, flop. Thankfully, we sold him for an even price. We lost no money on the deal. But when we brought him in, there was no marketing or beneficial value. He comes in, if he does well, that will come with it. You can't just get that straight away. If you buy an Mbappe, of course you got to have image and marketing and sponsorships to the fucking roof. But when you have these players that grow through your academy, look, a perfect example is Lamine Yamal. First season, nobody knew about him. Last season, only Barca fans knew about him. And now the marketing is absolutely through the roof with him, with Adidas and all this stuff, because we grew him into that. So when you buy talent and you produce them, they don't come with that. They grow into that. So that's what I'm gonna see is clear.
All right. Look, I think it just depends on like what you kind of value more. I just think that like our academy allows us to be able to spend money, but I will give Barca this. Your academy does make like megastars for your first team. That I mean, we had like Casillas. I think like
to be fair,
Raul, I think Carvajal, but just like in general though, that is more so what Barca do versus us. Like we and I could give you that. But I think our academy factually it is very successful. But look, let's go back to the combined 11 really quickly, bro. Okay, so you know what? I'll just give you Kubarsi. I'll give you Kubarsi.
You gotta give me, I think, both center backs, man. I think even if you go based on consistency this season as well. Again, like I mentioned in our video, I think Rudiger.
And this is just based off of just this season, chat. Like this is not overall. Based off this season, I can't really make an argument for Rudiger with how things have been.
I think Rudiger pre Man City clash would have definitely been in here, but post it, he's kind of had a fall off a cliff.
Okay, now fair enough. Okay, now what about like left back?
I mean, we have one of the best left backs in the world, and you're begging for a left back. I think that's a clear answer there.
Yeah, you know what? Like, let's just do it. Fuck it. Like, let's just do it, bro. Let's just do it. I mean, I can't make it. I mean, Mendy, Fran Garcia. I mean, come on. Like, I have to be real here. Okay, now let's get into this midfield.
Give me Pedri, and the rest I'll let you have fun with it. I think. Okay. I think with Barcelona, I think we do have better midfielders per se based on performance this season, but the consistency is just not there with injuries and form dropping in and out. I think Olmo would definitely be a huge contender, but hasn't played that much. Frankie as well, I think would be a huge contender, but only played since January at the highest level. Casado, I probably wouldn't even put him into a combined 11, but he's had a solid season as well. But I just think the midfield, the only main consistent factor is Pedri, so that's why he gets in there. And the other two are definitely
it's gotta be Valverde and Jude.
Yeah, I'd put Valverde. I think the cam again. You can put Jude. I think if we go based on just performances and impact on the team, I definitely would be saying Olmo. But since Jude's been playing in the team for the majority of the,
I think that Jude played well this season. Obviously, right? Like the numbers aren't what they were last season, but just in terms of overall performance, like Jude, he's been good for us again this season. And then Fede Valverde. I mean, in my opinion, I think him and Jude Bellingham are the two best all-around midfielders in terms of they can do anything in the midfield at a very high level. Like they're just very consistent. And for me, I agree with Pedri being in there. I think Pedri's been phenomenal this season, but he's the only Barca player that I think like gets into Madrid's midfield. Like I don't think that you have another midfielder that would like dethrone anybody else in my team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would agree. I just think that with Barcelona, the midfield has just been chopping and changing too much this season, while yours has been consistent. Along with the, I think Pedri and Valverde are definitely in there. Yeah. I think with the 10, I think it's up for debate. But since again, Olmo has been too consistent, I think Vermins had a great season as well. De Jong as well. He's played well the past few months, but the first 2-3 months he was injured. So yeah, we're talking about this season. So I'll give you, if you want to even put Valverde in the maybe Pedri the 10 and have Valverde and Tchouaméni in the midfield, whatever makes you happy.
And I mean, Tchouaméni's, I feel like he's played like a little under half of this season at center back, which kind of dims his light. Because I think in midfield, I think Tchouaméni's a monster. Like in the 6.
I see a lot of Madrid fans hating him here, so I'm quite surprised that you're giving him a lot of,
well, you know what it is.
powers.
So a lot of Madrid fans are hating him because of what he was doing when he was at center back. I feel like people really haven't moved on from that, because when Militao first went down, Raul Asensio was playing as our best defender, but Carlo would still bench him to then play Tchouaméni at center back. And Tchouaméni, while I think he's physical enough to play center back, that's clearly not his position. Like, that's not his bag. And Carlo was kind of forcing it. So, like, there were times when Tchouaméni was getting, like, booed, right? And then we brought him back as the DM, and he's been playing well. Like, he's won Player of the Month, I think, just recently for us. Like, he's a destroyer in that midfield, but I don't think he's better than any of the midfielders that we have right here. And, like, I feel like, for example, right, like, I always talk about how Real Madrid, we need a Toni Kroos replacement. Now, I'm going to be real with you. The perfect one-for-one Toni Kroos, that's Pedri. It's never going to happen. But in terms of the profile, right, like the playmaking from deep line positions, it's Pedri. So, hypothetically, let's say if we were to do a Luis Figo 2.0, and if we brought Pedri to Real Madrid, Tchouaméni or Camavinga, one of them, they're cooked. Like, they're cooked. Because, like, Pedri would be in there. So for anybody in the chat that's saying, oh, like, what about Camavinga? What about, and Camavinga's been shit this season in general. So yeah, no. Like, they can't get in over Pedri. But I do think that Valverde and Jude, like, this to me is like the most fair midfield. Okay. You go to the right wing. I mean, it's got to be Yamal, right?
I already said that he's one of the best players in the world. So
yeah, I think I agree with you. Rodrigo hasn't been that good this season. He had a nice little run of form, but I mean, it's just not been that good for the New Delhi Messi. It's actually crazy, bro. But I mean, like, what about Lamine Yamal? Do you think that he needs to work on with his game? Because, like, his finishing is like not that good, but I feel like he always scores in the big games.
Exactly. I saw
other games that he's just not clinical like that.
I saw a graphic on Twitter this morning. I don't know if you see it or not. It's like Lamine Yamal has 2 goals in his past like 20 games, something like that.
Yeah, crazy.
But the 2 goals came against Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, so I'm like, we'll take that. A couple of goals, and of course, a lot of his goals come in the Champions League. He scored against Benfica, scored against Dortmund as well. So big moment, big player. So we'll take it. But yeah, apart from maybe just scoring a little bit more goals, I think, just look at his growth, right? Last season he had, I think, 11 GA, which was 5 goals and like 6 assists. He's now made a jump to 35 GA in his first full season as a first-team player for Barcelona. Even last season, he didn't play the first few months. He only came in because we sold Ansu and Abi last second. Joao Felix wasn't really working out, so we had no players to play out wide. So he came in. That was, of course, the reason why he got his spot. Then, of course, his kind of stance came in that second half of the season when we had PSG in the Champions League. We were trying to get clawed back in the league title race, and of course, you guys beat us at the Bernabeu. But this season, it was his first full season as a first-team player, first full season as like a known starter, and he's absolutely cooked. 35 GA at the age of 17 for Barcelona is no mean feat. Still, of course, few games left to go. He could be touching 40 to 50 GA, which is fucking nuts. Like, that's like players' best, prime. Nuts. That's people's like prime season. He's doing this in his first season at Barcelona as well, first full season as a first-team player. Yeah,
nah, that is nuts. I don't have any argument against Lamine Yamal. I rate Lamine Yamal very, 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 very highly. I think if you guys can manage him correctly and not, because I feel like he does get overplayed slightly, right? Like, there's some games where, like, even though I'm hate watching, I'm still gonna be very honest, right? And I'll say, bro, like, you're up like 4-1. It's fucking the 50th minute. Like, why is everybody else getting subbed off but him? Like, just let him just sit on the bench. You know what I'm saying? And let him just relax because like all that it takes is just one tackle or something that could like really. But if he can stay fit, I think Lamine Yamal is gonna arguably be the best player in the world. Yeah, like he's phenomenal, and I hate it. But it's okay though.
Hopefully, Barcelona learn from their mistakes in the past for not managing some of the youngsters well.
Yeah,
but I think we've done really well with Lamine. We have him on a good system and a good regiment as well. Mm-hmm. So again, we have the data that says that he's fully fit. Of course, he got arrested against Celta out of nowhere. But when you're young, I guess you have the energy. Like if you remember when you and I were 17, we were playing in the park every day. Vibing. So,
running around.
So he has that energy as well. So we cannot take that away from him. But I think the club do manage to semi well, especially with the new technology that's come in under the fitness coaches with the Hansi Flick. Again, we've made huge improvements this past summer in fitness. Apart from signing almost for 60 million, we also made a lot of big investment on fitness coaches, getting the best technology and stuff like that as well. That's really come big this season so far. We had little to no injuries. Of course, the Ball and Lewandowski ones were very, very recent. Olmo, he's just an injury-prone player. Casado, of course, pulled up.
Yeah,
Stegen with a bad leg. None of them was, of course, due to like fitness issues. Like, maybe when you play too many games, you get fatigued, you pull your hamstrings. Maybe the Lewandowski one, you could say maybe a bit fitness worry, but you always suffer through that. But now it's very, very minimal, which of course is great.
Now, fair enough, bro. Left wing, I'll just give you Rafinha. Again, this is just based off of this season, man. Hansi Flick changed his life. Okay?
I mean, he has a Ballon d'Or charge. Of course, he's gonna be in there.
Oh my!
I think again, if this is first half of the season, I'd be open for the debate to have Vinicius there. But man said I'm doing 10 times better, and he done 10 times worse. So.
My gosh! Nah, look, I'm not gonna lie. Like these Madrid players have blood on their hands when I'm looking at this combined 11, bro. Again, this is just strictly based off of what's going on.
I think you could definitely say like, oh, but this is the better player. I think there's a bit of an argument there. I think he's definitely the better winger, but I do rate Rafinha as a better forward. But
okay,
but yeah.
I mean, look, like this season, Rafinha has been doing a madness. I can't make an argument for Vinicius, who's been missing for like the last 4 months. I'm seeing some guy that's on the wing. I'm seeing somebody that's wearing that number 7, but it don't look like Vinny. So the performances have just not been there. So yeah, I don't even think that Vinicius finishes top 10 in the Ballon d'Or voting. I'm gonna be real. I don't even think you see his name in the top 10, bro.
Yeah, it should not be
like. And let's say if we would have done a madness, let's say we would have overcome Arsenal. Let's say we would have beat them, came back. Let's say we would have beat PSG. Let's say we'd have won the Champions League this season. It'd have been Mbappe that would have gotten the award. It would not have been Vinicius, right? Like,
and that's the problem. That's the problem, right? From Vinicius' perspective, that's why maybe he's a bit reluctant to renew a contract because it's quite clear that Florentino Perez wants Mbappe to be the new Ronaldo, the face of Madrid. When you have the posters and the sports, the advertisement, he'll be the first face, and it's gonna be Vinicius and stuff on the side. I mean, you can just look at it. I mean, the facts are there. He's getting the big push in the media as well. Oh, Mbappe's trying harder. Oh, Mbappe leads the team and encouraging them. There's no reports about that like there was for Vinicius when Mbappe wasn't here last season. So not only is the media, not only is the president, but also the media is giving Mbappe that push. And you'll see, give it some time. You'll see that once your preseason, is confirmed, like where you're gonna go and stuff, and watch that poster and see who's in the front. I guarantee you, it's gonna be Mbappe, then like Vinicius, Bellingham, then like Rodrigo in the background, then like Valverde as like the 5th option.
Yeah. Do you think that Rafinha will end up just being like a one season wonder? Because I feel like that narrative is gonna get pushed next season because the numbers that he's putting up right now are so crazy. I don't see him replicating these exact numbers. Not saying that he won't be as impactful or as good, but you know how it is with like social media. It's like a numbers based game. I cannot see him having this good of a season statistically. Next.
Yeah, I mean he's on track to have like 60 GA this season, which is fucking nuts. I mean, not even Vinicius last season got that. I think last season Vinicius got 37. I think if next season he pulls a 25-30, that's perfect. I think that's I still put him in contention as one of the best players in the world if he puts that number up again. Of course, it goes down to 20 or less, then definitely a one season wonder. But yeah, I do not expect him to have another season like this. As long as he's an impactful, important player next season, comes up in the big moments, plays well, that's all you can really ask for. I think he's definitely overperforming in the sense that his conversion rate in the final third this season is just crazy. I mean, like I mentioned to you, his first 2 seasons weren't too bad. I think he was playing well, build the play, connection, defensive work rate, attacking transition was perfect. But in the final third, terrible. Decision-making, finishing, awareness, and that all changed this season. He probably should have gotten 40 GA in his first 2 seasons with Barcelona for the amount of chances he's missed. But this season's just been super, super effective.
Now, it's crazy. So I was saying, like, really quickly, I said that Nico Williams messed up by not forcing that Barca move last summer because there's no place for him now. Like there's no place.
I mean, I would still take him. I think he's still a play that we definitely do need. I think there's still
come off the bench.
Well, no, it's
not. I
don't
rate him that highly though. Like just
like you mentioned, right? You're gonna need squad depth. There's gonna be so many games coming up. Rafinha and Lamine Yamal cannot play week in week out. They need their rest. And when you have a player like Nico is on the bench, providing that coverage and competition, you have a good unity. What happens if Rafinha does flop? He doesn't provide 25G. What happens if Lamine
afford to spend like 80 million on somebody to be like?
No, he'll be 60. He has a release clause of 60, so he'll be 60. And
does he have a release clause of 60? I thought they went up this summer.
No. It's still 60. Don't forget with Lamine, he's already Lamine Yamal, by the way. I mentioned this very, very quickly. He has 35 GA, which is 31 GA, which is of course incredible.
Yeah,
he was injured for 2 months this season. He got injured in September for 3 weeks, and then in November for a month, but we had that terrible run. So he missed 2 months of the season, and he's still pulling up 31 GA as well. So yeah, with that, in that month when Lamine was injured, we're of course playing Pablo Torre on the wing, Fermin, Olmo. If you had Nico Williams, would have definitely had maybe more points on the board in La Liga. Would have maybe already had La Liga wrapped up by now. So that's the difference maker when you spend that kind of money on a player that can provide that coverage and competition, and most importantly, the depth as well.
Okay, I mean, yeah, look, like we'll see, bro. I think like the Rafinha situation is crazy, yeah, because again, like he was on his way out. And now it looks like, bro, this guy's the captain of the club some games, and he's bagging goals.
He's the fifth captain of the team, yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay, so now let's talk about the 9 before we like wrap this up. I'm gonna say Mbappe. I'm gonna be real. I think you know what? I'll give you Lewandowski, only because I don't believe that Lewandowski is better than Mbappe.
I agree,
but
as a player.
Yeah, as a player, but Lewandowski's been more consistent this season.
Yeah, I think Lewandowski is the second greatest striker of our generation, right? What he's doing this season for his age is incredible. 41 GA is crazy for someone who's in his age and has only been improving. I think his involvement for Barcelona is also incredible as well in terms of build up play, hold up play, link up play. Yes, he does have an occasional stinker here and there where I think the only real problem with Lewandowski, why the fan base does go at him a lot when he doesn't score, is that he's just so slow, especially in transition and, counterattacks. If he's fresh, doesn't have to move too much, you'll see him, bold down. He's quite okay. But, 70th minute when we're having a counterattack, he's unfortunately the last man. 9 times out of 10, it's because he dropped back to help with, hold up play and build up play. But I do think that Lewandowski definitely had a better season than Mbappe. Mbappe had a fantastic 2 months. January, February, he was cooking. I'm thinking, holy shit, here we go. Mbappe pulling up in the second half of the season where it matters the most, but dropped off the last 2 months, and of course the first half of the season he was getting calls to even get sold by Madrid fans, let alone be in a contention for Bayern.
Yeah, I mean, look, like chat. I see some of you guys saying like, oh, like don't give him certain things, bro. I can't in good faith. Without trying to be, so I could do it if I wanted to be shameless, right? But I'm not trying to be shameless to sound like an idiot that's up here. You know what I'm saying? I can't make, like, again, I think Mbappe right now is playing better than Lewandowski. But again, we have to factor in the entire season. I can't sit here and say that Mbappe for the entire season is having a better one than Lewandowski. I can't. And I'm trying to be very objective. 3 Real Madrid players in this combined 11. This shit is crazy, bro.
Hey, don't forget that. Of course, you're gonna be neutral and fair. Now it's fair last season. I think last season I don't even think we had more than 3 players in our combined 11 as well. So everyone has their
next. Yeah, look, let me tell you something right now, brother. Barca boy, you enjoy this season. You enjoy this, because next season we're gonna be talking. It's gonna be a little different. All right, so look, you better win this La Liga. Don't fumble it, right? Hopefully, Inter knock you out of this UCL, and then we'll talk. I think that we're gonna see a lot of changes this summer. I know that you don't think that we're gonna make signings. I believe that we're gonna splash some cash. There's no way. The club have to respond. There needs to be a response to what we've seen from Barcelona this season. Last thing that I want to ask you before we get on out of here, bro.
Yeah.
What do you predict will happen in this Copa del Rey final? Like, if you want to give me your score prediction, how do you think the game's gonna go? Like anything like that.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a very, very tight game in comparison to the other 2 Clásicos. I think there's a lot of hype around, Barcelona's going to, batter them again. They already beat them a bunch of times by a huge score line this season already. I think that narrative will have definitely a big factor in the game being more close. But of course, I'm confident in my team. I'm confident in the players. They've been crying for big moments this season. They've had the right mentality from August until now, thinking, keep your head forward, this and that. Of course, it's one step closer to the quadruple. I'm confident. But then again, you have Madrid, who are of course a good team. Like we already said a bunch of times, bar for bar, band for band, player wise, you probably do come out on top. There have, of course, world-class players across the pitch. System-wise, maybe not that great, of course, under huge pressure, after the Arsenal game and after the season overall. Of course, Carlo's going to end up leaving. I think Carlo's even leaving before the Club World Cup, which is fucking nuts as well. I think there's more pressure on Real Madrid to win it than Barcelona, which hopefully will go well and benefit us. But if this is the road to quadruple and you beat Madrid in a Copa del Rey final, it's even sweeter. So I'm confident in the team. I'll probably say a narrow score line. I'm thinking like 3-2 Barca, 2-1 Barca, definitely by like a one absolute max 2-goal margin. I don't think this will be a thrashing from either side. I think it'll be a very, very tight game, but I do see Barcelona getting the result. Hopefully in 90 minutes as well. I do not want extra time or penalties.
Yeah, so I agree in terms of it's going to be a tight scoreline. I don't think that Barcelona are going to destroy us like what we saw across this season. I think that we will win this. For me, it's just a pride thing, right? Because based off form, based off just the coaching, how we've seen things go this season, nothing indicates that Real Madrid will leave this game with the trophy. But I just believe that my players, like, this is how we got to look at this, is like it's the UCL final. Like, that's how we have to treat this, because we can't have Barcelona winning the treble, bro. Like, we bring in Mbappe, right? One of the best players in the world. All the expectations, all the hype coming into this season, to then end it going 0 for 3. Prime Ben Simmons free throw numbers. Are you kidding me? Like, it's unacceptable. So we can't have that. I think it's going to just come down to the motivation from our players, right? Like, if we go out there and get trashed, that tells me that these guys have given up on Carlo, right? Again, as like I said earlier, this could be his last chance at winning a trophy with Real Madrid. I just think that something's going to be different. I think that we're going to see the best performance from Real Madrid, and we're still not going to look dominant. Again, the counterattack is what I'm really relying on, that back line to just be off it a little bit. Then again, it's like we said, maybe Alejandro Balde might not be there. It's going to probably be either like Hector Ford or Gerard Martin. I think that's your weak link, just like how Fran Garcia is going to more than likely be our weak link. But I just think with the pace that we'll have up front, we should be able to leave this game with something. We have to. We must. It's a must-win game, bro. And like you said, there's more pressure on us than there is on you. If you win this, you just secured another trophy, right? If we lose this, let's be real, we're going to more than likely go trophyless. Mm-hmm. So, like, that'd be a catastrophic thing where, again, if you lose, you could still win La Liga. You could possibly still win the UCL. So, like, there'd still be ways for you to salvage your season. If we lose this, there's nothing to really salvage our season with. Like, it'd be, like, no real positive take away from it. But, look, yeah. I'm excited for it. Are you going to be doing a watch-along, bro?
Of course, man. Of course.
All right. Good. Look, man, I might have to, because I'll be doing a watch-along as well. But I might jump in your chat to see them tears after the Mbappe hat trick.
Best believe it.
You after lose. The Mbappe hat trick.
Hey, man, I've been in your chat every time you've lost, so this will be no other scenario.
All right, bro. We'll see. But, yo, big up to everybody that's in here, right? Make sure you guys smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Check out Barca Boy. Bro, big up for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it.
Of course, man. I appreciate the invite. Of course, we'll do definitely more stuff to come in the summer for next season, maybe even for the league game as well in 2 weeks' time. So appreciate it.
Yeah. Nah, bro. Like, we'll be here 100%. We could definitely work something out because, again, look, it's a lot of stuff to play for this season. But now, look, shout out to everybody that's watching. This is going to take you guys over to Touchline Facts, right? We're going to raid him. Let him know, Carnage Raid. Smash his like button, subscribe as well. Big up to Barca Boy once again. Definitely hope to see some tears on Saturday from you. But, look, man, may the best team win. Holla Madrid!